You want to start it?
I'll start it. So, welcome, episode 4, Hellfire Creative Podcast. Our guest is Charlie Wilson.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good. It's weird saying hello when we've been sitting in the garden for like 2 hours.
We've literally just done the podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna do it without the swearing or the name shaming, and
So no swearing though.
you can swear,
You can swear.
just not as much as the guys on the last
Mark,
podcast.
yeah, dropping the C bomb.
All right, no
Yeah.
C-bombs.
No,
Lots of Fs.
lots of Fs.
Cool. Right. So, Monolith,
Yes.
your music studio.
Yeah.
Let's go back before that. How
Okay.
how did that come about? Because I suppose we should talk about the fact that the three of us have known each other for a long time.
Yeah,
Many
15
bands
years.
that
15 years, yeah.
no one else is going to have heard of, but meant a lot to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about the music journey and how that eventually led to Monolith.
All right. Well, won't go into like immense detail, but
It's fine. It's a podcast. It's fancy, yeah.
yeah. I guess like most people that have played in bands and stuff, I started off at school. You know, I had like a covers band at school with a few friends, and then
What did you cover?
well, the biggest was doing Killing in the Name at a school concert. And then the teacher was like, I know what this song is, so you're not allowed to do the bit we're talking about. So the fuck you, I won't do what you tell
Yeah.
me. And I was like, oh, okay, I won't do it. And then it was this school concert. So my school was a performing arts school. So the winter concert was all sit down parents, blah, blah, blah. And then the summer one was either outside or in the assembly hall, and then that was kids, and it was all standing. And so we did Killing in the Name at the summer one, and my head, I don't know if it's the headmaster or the head of music. His name was Mr. Arnold. I can't remember, but he was like, "Don't do the vocals. You can't do it. If you do it, you'd be in trouble." And I was like, "Okay," but I knew that there's like 200 kids in there that all know the fucking words. So as soon as that bit came up, I was like teasing it, like, I'm going to do it. And then I didn't do it, but all the kids did it. And then obviously the teacher was just like, why didn't I realise that all the kids would just do it anyway? And
The power of a crowd there.
yeah, I did kind of chicken out though, because it was literally like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. And I
You did exactly
You
what I was told. But yeah, so I mean, we did all the usual stuff. We did like Paranoid,
Yeah.
half of War Pigs. I think we can get through the whole of that. And then we did, Smells Like Teen Spirit, just the standard, my first band stuff. And then there was a band in the sixth form, it was like a proper punk band with their own songs and stuff. And they saw me playing, and then I got friends with them. They're all skate kids and stuff. And then they asked me to join their band, which was like, oh my God, like these kids are like 18. I was like 15. And then because they were a bit older, we was playing proper gigs, like gigs. Well, gigs, like 5 people at the Dog and Duck. But
yeah.
when you're 15, you can't believe you're like, it's night time and we're playing,
Yeah.
And then we played some gigs with a band, 17 Stitches, who they all went on to do
With
Injury
Leo
Time.
and all that. Like,
Yeah. And then I only played like 1 or 2 gigs with them. But they asked me to join them as my other band was splitting up. And then that got me into the hardcore world. And then they split up. And then I think Prowler messaged me out of the blue. I was desperate to be in a band at the time as well. And Prowler messaged me out of the blue. And they said, oh, we need a fill-in for Ben, who ended up actually being in TRC.
Another one of Charlie's bands.
Another one of my bands that was. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, this is my dream, like a band like this. They're a bit metal, they're a bit hardcore. It's perfect for me at the time. We played a few shows, and then it was like, I think I was hoping that I was going to join, because, it was a long time ago, so I can say this now, but when we was at practice, they were just, burying Ben. Just being like, oh, he's this, he's that, he don't want to play gigs, fuck him. You'd do it right, so I'm like, yeah. And then next thing I know, like, they're playing a gig and Ben's on guitar, and I was kind of gutted. And, a lot of this stuff, like, I owe to Pierre from Knuckle Dust, because he literally just started, and this says a lot about his character, man, he literally just started speaking to me at a show, and he didn't have to do that. I was just a nervous kid. You know, I think I was 17 at the time, and he was like, "Oh, I saw you play guitar. You're sick." Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Thank you." You know,
Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Papa Pierre.
And I remember even my girlfriend at the time was like, "Pierre was talking to you," and I was like, "I know, what the fuck." Yeah, and then a few weeks or months went by, or whatever, and then I saw Pierre posting about wanting to start another band, so I just jumped on it, and then that was Bun Them Out. And then Bun Them Out was kind of my like kick-off point, I think, for playing in proper bands that were playing abroad and doing tours and stuff.
Yeah, because you've done like loads of festivals and stuff with Bun Them Out and some of the subsequent bands, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we were fortunate because his other band BDF split up. We had a really similar name, so I think we kind of just like slotted into all the usual places they would be, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first band I did where it was like, oh, we're playing in Belgium this weekend. Oh, we're playing in Germany this weekend. Or, oh, we're getting people are buying our T-shirts, you know. And it was all down to Pierre being in the band, you know. And again, like I said about Pierre's character, it's like he didn't have to do. I said it to Ben earlier. It's like he didn't have to do this band. Like we were literally like kids, and he was a 30-year-old man, you know.
Yeah,
And
don't say it like that though. 'Cause
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. But we were like, I think I was 17, 18, and so was everyone else. And you know, Pierre, he like gave us a chance really to like to get our foot in the door. And he's always done stuff like that, you know. And yeah, and then I think because when I was in Bun Them Out, I could really showcase my skills on guitar. Like I was doing a lot of sweep picking and dive bombs and stuff. And in that world at that time, I don't think that, apart from Andy BDF, I don't think anyone else was really doing that sort of thing. So I kind of became a bit of a like hot ticket, I guess. Like loads of bands wanted me to play for them and stuff. And yeah, so I can't remember who I joined first, but I think I joined 50 Caliber and TRC around the same time. In fact, I think I joined TRC first because I remember when I got asked to join Caliber, I was going to quit TRC, but then my girlfriend at the time was like, "If you quit TRC, you're an idiot." And I was like, "Okay, I won't quit TRC then."
It was the right decision.
Well, yeah, in the long run, it was the right decision.
They went on to do, like, I mean, 50 Caliber did their bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
But TRC far surpassed, like, really what Caliber did.
Yeah, but I mean, by the time I joined Caliber, I think, you know, I know they're having a resurgence now, but at the time it was, you know, it had all the lineup changes and it went back to the original lineup, and then that fell apart pretty quick. So yeah, in hindsight, you know, it was a good move to not quit TRC. But yeah, so did Caliber for a bit, and at the time, Caliber was my favourite band. Like you know, top 5 favourite hardcore. Still is probably. You know, I still love that EP and the split and stuff. Is that
Magic cat.
Extra guess.
So yeah, I mean, 50 Caliber just, at least for mine, just kind of fizzled out and stuff. And then TRC, you know, we went on to do some cool shit, like.
Yeah, I was there for most of it.
Yeah, you were. So yeah, we went on. We like toured all over UK and Europe and stuff, and unfortunately, just as it started getting bigger and we were getting offered bigger things, people in the band just couldn't keep up. To be honest, you know, they had lives outside of the band. Like one of the singers had still does have a really good job, and he wasn't really willing to quit it to do the band. So we were trying to adjust to that, and it just wasn't really the same, you know. And I kind of felt in TRC that I might be wrong, but I felt like I was putting in so much more work than everyone else. And you know, just little things like, let's do a music video, I'd be free whenever.
Yeah.
And some other members would be like, I'm only free Tuesday afternoon. And it's like, well, that's not good enough, man. We were actually trying to make a career out of it, which might seem funny to some people, but yeah, we were trying to like make this our jobs and our livelihood, you know. So after a while, I just kind of got sick of it really, and started my own band. And I wanted to do a band which I'd never really done, which was like 100% kind of in my vision and how I wanted it to sound. at least at the time, you know. And so I started another band, Counting Days, and then that got branded like a super group for some reason, because
A guy from Heights, didn't it?
I had the singer from Heights, and then one of Bring Me the Horizon joined later on, and yeah, it was fun, but unfortunately with that band, I think where that fell apart was it was overhyped. So we'd play gigs and we'd be headlining because we'd been in magazines, on the radio, whatever, but like our fan base hadn't caught up to us headlining. So we'd turn up to an all day and it'd be packed. Then by the time we'd go on, it'd be half empty or quarter empty or completely empty once or twice, you know. And it was kind of disheartening and stuff. But because the hype was there, and we played all the big festivals and stuff like that, and toured, and because all of those things combined, we ended up getting signed for quite a lot of money with this. They're actually a blues label, funnily enough, and they wanted to try and do some metal bands. So they signed us, Black Label Society. I think they were trying to sign Of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
They signed a few smaller bands as well. They basically gave us loads of money to go record an album. So we went to this place, Studio Fredman, in Sweden. And it was a place I'd always wanted to go and always heard about. So they recorded like At the Gates, In Flames, a lot of like insane records that had a lot of impact on me growing up. And that was when I kind of realised, like, this is fucking amazing, because I wasn't, you know, all due respect to other studios I've been to, like I wasn't in a shed, or I wasn't in an attic, or I wasn't tracking vocals in my bedroom. You know, it was like, wow, this is a like amazing studio. And it was a residential studio too, so we like lived there for a month in like Gothenburg.
Yeah.
And it was a really eye-opening experience to me, because I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, and I always thought, after that, I was thinking, I'd love to do this like later in life, you know.
Yeah.
But by this point, I was like 27, 28. And then the album came out, and, you know, it went down well, you know, and it was good and stuff. But we were kind of getting a bit too old to go on tour for no reason, if that makes sense. We couldn't really go on tour, and just for the sake of it, like when we were younger, you know, we had to like go on tour and support a bigger band, and that was hard to do. And we were getting offers, but I was hustling a lot. I was hustling like agents I knew and people in bigger bands I knew, and people's texts to get us on shows. I mean, one tour we did, I wanted to get us on this tour, and I knew that bigger band's guitar tech, and we didn't have a guitarist. So I said to him, "You get us on that tour, you can play guitar for the tour." And then like the next day, it's like, "You're on the tour." I got you on the tour. And then he came and played guitar for us on the tour, which was a bit annoying, because we was in like a little transit van, and he was like sleeping on a bus with like the big band. We get, but yeah, I was hitting like, I was getting close to 30, and the closer like we flew to the sun, I kind of realised like, right, I couldn't hope to get as big as these bands. Like this, they're like at my dream point, and you'd be speaking to people and their phones would be cut off because they couldn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, right, you haven't got any money. You're all skint. It's like, yeah, you've got like, and this isn't to slag anybody off, but it's like you know, you've got this huge fan base and all these people adore you and stuff, but when you go home, you're like struggling to pay the bills and stuff. And I just thought, even if I get to where I want to be in music, playing it, I know that like I'll never have a comfortable life from it. It'll always be a struggle, and you know, I do want to have a family at some point and have kids, and I wouldn't be able to do it. So I kind of thought, well, what's my plan B? And I think, if I remember correctly, I think we actually had an argument with our new drummer, which was kind of what ended the band. Like, he was being a real brat, to be honest. He was
a brat.
He was just being a brat.
Such a
like,
drummer word to use a drummer.
Yeah,
they are brats,
but it's like me and him.
Me
and him were having the argument, and even everyone else in the band was. I won't name his name, but everyone else in the band was like, "Drummer too, like you're being a child, you're being a brat, like you sound ridiculous, you know. And he was like, I don't care how I sound, blah, blah, you know. And for me, I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm done. I already like was kind of worried about my life because I was 29. I was like, I'm gonna be 30 soon, and I don't even know where this is going, you know. So I thought, I just want to. I like the idea of producing bands. I think the day I had the argument with him, I went to the music uni.
Yeah.
I googled a few. I went to one in Stockwell, and it just seemed a bit more for people that want to make beats and stuff like that. And then I went to one in Camden, SSR, which unfortunately is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean my certificates are fake. Just means like
It doesn't exist.
closed down. Yeah, and I really took to it, man. Like from the get go. I think I was always the guy in my bands that made all the demos and wrote all the songs. So
I was going to touch upon that because you kind of. I know we wanted to glide through the music. I've got a cat now. I know we want to glide through the bands, but you were the one that wrote the tunes.
Yeah.
Like when I did our little stint in Calibre, you wrote the songs.
Yeah.
You wrote the songs in TRC, Bund them out. So like you've always had that sort of, you know, creativity about you. I remember the Bund them out stuff. Like you demoed it as well, just you with the beats and everything. So you've always had that.
Yeah,
kind of thing going on, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of due to necessity because, like, I wanted to get things going, and but yeah, like, I was always the one in the band that had a touch on how to use Logic or whatever, and it was getting to the point where like mates bands were asking me to help them do the demos or whatever.
Yeah.
So it always felt like something I could easily progress into. So I enrolled, and you know, I already had. For like the first module, you just had to make a song, you know, to record real drums and guitar stuff.
Easy.
And I was like, well, I literally just re-recorded one of my old songs for it, and then, I mean, not to knock the other people in the class, with an exception to one person in the class, like it was miles ahead of everyone else in the class, and it was a really difficult course. You know, when I started the course, there was 7 people in the class. And when it ended, there was 2, me and this guy Tom, who was the other person who was really good. But yeah, I just took to it, and I just decided like this is my life now. And I thought, I mean, I'm only just coming to the idea of wanting to be in a band again, you know, after 3-4 years or whatever it's been, you know. But yeah, when I went to uni, I realised that this is actually something I can thrive at, and every band I'd been in. You know, it had always been let down by someone else. Like I was always given 110%, and there was always someone else in the band holding it back, or not wanting to do this, or not learning their parts, or not. You know, I mean, we've all been in bands. Yeah. We all know.
We all know that that person,
that one.
Yeah. I mean, we were literally just talking about it, you know. But I knew with this, I only had myself. I only had myself to worry about, and I said, as long as I don't let myself down, I can go as far as I want to go with it, you know. So yeah, I did the I think it was 2 years at the uni, and yeah, I just fucking took to it really well, because I'd been to that big studio. When I was there, I was kind of full of questions, you know, and I got really good friends with the engineer, Henry Good, who's like one of my like production heroes, man. He's incredible producer. So he was there for whenever I had questions. I could just go, hey Henrik, like, how do I EQ guitars? You know, how do I record this, that, the other?
Send me your presets.
Yeah. And but I had to, because it wasn't, obviously I want to do heavy music. I had to do a lot of research on my own as well. So I had to sign up to you know, like other websites that offered in detail education on heavy music. Because my course, it kind of just gave you the foundation of how to do it. And my tutors were brilliant, you know, they were really, you know, one of them had worked with AC/DC, one of them used to be in a band called the Dub Pistols.
I remember the Dub Pistols.
Yeah, Jason O'Brien, his name is, but he was great, fantastic guy. Same with Anthony Lim, the guy who taught me how to master. But yeah, and then once in fact I hadn't even finished uni, but the opportunity to open Monolith came up, and I just thought, fuck it.
Just do it.
I thought, why not, you know? And my friend Steve, who'd produced a few few albums for me and stuff, his studio had just gone out of business. So I thought, well, I could do it with Steve, and then I could also bring in my friend Jack, who'd just been to the exact same uni, and between the three of us, we can just keep its head above water, you know. And that's what we did for like the first year, and now I've got no complaints, man. Business is great,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, when you said you were going to do it, like instantly, we're like, well, you've already got my bands. Like,
You were like the first or second thing I did, I think.
Yeah.
First album, anyway.
Yeah. And it was just like you knew that you had that. It was the same with like us when we do it. We know we've got people we can go. Do you need a video?
Yeah.
A music video, and you know you can do it at a cut rate, but it'll get you to that next level. You
Yeah.
kind of had that fallback. But yeah, it's taking that step from like not doing anything to doing that. What was it like? Like, did it feel good or did it feel?
It was scary. I mean, you know, I did have a lot of support from my family, but like, it was still scary because I knew like, if it failed, I knew like it would be so much harder to get taken seriously again by anyone. You know, and the first few things I did, I either did it for dirt cheap or I did it for free, just because there's a few bands. I won't name names because I don't know what they've told other people or whatever. But there was a few bands I did for free because I knew that will open the door for loads of other stuff. And I was right, it did.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't regret it. And then next time they came back, they get charged. You know.
Yeah.
But they will still appreciate the first thing you did. I mean, one of the bands that had probably the biggest impact on my studio, they were doing it all themselves, and a few people I had actually heard of them, and a few people that had come to the studio had been, oh, you've got to hear this band, they're fucking sick. But they're recording it themselves and it's letting them down. And then their singer kept messaging me asking me for like drum samples and stuff. And I was like, and I just said to him, I said, look, just come to the studio. I'll just record you for free. And then if you don't like it, don't put it out. And then that band kind of opened the doors to a whole another world of like hardcore metal bands and stuff for me. So yeah, you basically have to take a risk and you have to just not be greedy with money either. You know, if there's bands, I've said to Baz, I really want to record Raiden. I'm not going to be like, yeah, I want $4,000 to record Raiden, you know. But like a band a band I don't care about.
Yeah.
You know, not that I don't care about. I don't record bands I don't care about, but a band that I'm not like, I want to do that. You know, they pay full whack. But my point being is like, yeah, you have to
Speculate to accumulate.
exactly that.
I suppose as a new business, and you're thinking about the long game. So like you said, it opened doors. Tell us about that first recording, the first time you recorded someone with a finished product and you actually got paid for
money,
it.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually the first thing I did. I got paid for, but I was like, it's my friend Claire's band, Mountain Cooler.
Oh yeah, I remember you recording that. It was good.
And
really good.
they are really good bands, like instrumental 3-piece, like prog doom band. And I saw she just started a band, and I just started producing, and I had the studio, so I just messaged her and just said, do you want to come and record your songs? And I meant like to make sure my studio works, because we built it ourselves, me and Steve, you know. So I was like, just to make sure it works. And she was like, yeah, dude, sounds great. So they came in, and then they were like, oh, how much is this going to cost? And I just went, just pay me whatever, you know, just whatever. Like, it's the first thing I'm doing, so just pay me whatever. And they gave me £500. And then I think they gave me a tip as well, because I when I was mixing it, we had a day where they came in to tweak the mix. And so they gave me a tip on top of that on Black Friday. So I think I bought like 5 video games or something.
No, I remember you sent me a picture.
Yeah.
Got tipped today, and it was like,
It's like
3 of those games you're gonna hate.
yeah, I think I did hate them as well. I think it was like that Call of Duty where it's all online, and I can't play video games anyway. So and then it was that horrible Fallout game that was awful. But yeah, it was very nerve wracking. And obviously I didn't like. Now I've got a workflow. Like when a sales track, we're both vocalists. The sales track in either of you two, you know, I punch you in, and I'm quick at moving the audio files around.
Yeah.
But this, you know, I was green, like a wrestling term for noob. But I didn't know what I was doing, but I just was nervous and I didn't want to mess it up. And luckily there was a lot of things like we weren't editing drums because they wanted live sounds. I didn't have to worry about being really slow at editing drums. Like now I'm a ninja, but at the time I was like, I was so slow at it. But yeah, it was really nerve-wracking. And but like everything that's worth doing, you have to kind of put yourself out there and just do it, man. They take the risk, and because I wasn't charging them, well, I didn't think I was at first. It did take the pressure off a bit, but then the thing I did after that was even worse because I was charging them like £1,000, and they were like a proper metal band, like Gojira style metal band, a band called Similar of Orion. They still come to me, so I didn't mess up too much.
That band, the Nepalese band.
Yeah, they're all from which is the craziest thing ever because all of them are Nepalese and they play in a metal band, but they also have had loads of lineup changes and they've all been Nepalese. I honestly don't know where they're finding these people, but actually, the guitarist is my intern now. Yeah. So,
cool.
It's kind of worked out well, you know.
You've got to give him mates race now, though.
Well,
he just doesn't get paid. He works for free.
That was more nerve-wracking because I did have to edit drums. I did have to make it perfect. And luckily, I think I just about got away with it. But it was a lot of, now I can do a mix in a day and then tweak it the next day and it's kind of done. But at that point, it would take me like a week of every day just like banging my head on the desk. Why isn't this working? Why can't I hear the snare? Why, and it's difficult and it was draining, but I was so laser focused on getting good at it that it was all that really mattered to me, and still kind of is, to be honest. So yeah, it was scary, but it was worth it, I think. The answer.
Yeah, so like when you say like you do a few freebies like that, I mean, I would do your bund 'em out artwork and stuff just to get, and then like the next one someone else would pay me to do it. You start at the bottom, especially because it's that hardcore DIY ethic that sort of seeps into. Especially, you can tell someone who's punk rock or someone's been in a hardcore band by the way that they work. They just pull stuff in. They go, well, I've got to make it work. It's not. There's no like, oh, well, it's not done now. You can instantly tell when someone is not from that DIY world where they just give up. Yeah.
I mean, I've come across people that have come into intern and they want to go home at 4 o'clock and stuff like that, and it's like it's not. You're in the wrong business. I think anything where you work for yourself and you're creative, you have to be willing to stay there an extra hour, and not only be willing to stay, but want to stay. And actually, I mean, the band I had in, some nights I was staying there till 11 o'clock, so I just didn't want to go home. Yeah. Why would I want to go home? I'm like, recording metal music's my favourite thing in the world, you know.
I think that's it. Yeah, there's so many people that I've worked with or employed and stuff, and they're going, 5 o'clock? I go, the job's not finished.
It's like
they go, it took me 3 days to do that. It's like, why did it take you 3 days? It's a day's work. And they go, yeah, but I did the 8 hours, then I stopped.
Yeah, but it's that
10-hour day.
That thing teachers say, the bell is a sign for me, not you. It's like, it's 5 o'clock, that's just the outline, you know. Yeah. But on the flip side, some days I went home early because we was all tired and fried. And maybe that was because we stayed late. Yeah. But I'm glad we stayed late because the energy was there in the room.
The best out of it.
And everyone was up for it at that point. You know?
Yeah, I remember when we were doing the Dirt record and it's like leaving the studio at like 10 and going, I'm not going to be home till at least 12:30. And you're like, but it was done, or it was like, we tried our best, like we got everything we needed to do. Don't have to come back another day.
Yeah.
Or the drinks are flow, like the flow was there. I think that's really important, especially in recording. Like if the flow's there, you know, if we stop now, we're never going to get back to this.
Yeah. I mean, on average, I can do a song in 2 days, right? But back to the energy being there. It's when I did the Borstal EP. We did 6 songs in 3 days, right? And but when I say the energy was there, I mean like we were all in the zone, and drinks were flowing and other stuff and all that, and but we were also on the project and dedicated and knew we had a 3-day deadline. You know, like I'd track drums and I'd go home at like 11 midnight and I'd be editing drums till 3 in the morning, and then get 4 hours sleep, go back to the studio. You know, and that is exactly the thing you have to be willing to do to make these things work. Because even, I mean, I wouldn't say the Borstal thing, like, has kicked the doors open as much as some other bands, but it definitely was a band that like, okay, I you know,
Yeah, well, that's
I put my head down and did it,
yeah.
and it definitely, you know, got more traction to the studio, you know.
Got a new friend there in Gus.
I have.
My cat. Yeah, I that work ethic thing. That's definitely something that's come on from all the podcasts, because we've only really worked with, when you talk to people that run their own businesses. I think that's because, you know, the way we're going. It is that it's everything. It has to become everything. It's all encompassing, because it's not like when you go to work and you go, oh, I'm going to call in sick today, and you know that the company's still going to be running the next day. But if you as a business owner go, I'm just going to phone it in today, that could be you not eating for a month, because you've got to wait for the bill to be paid that you didn't do.
Yeah, well, I get paid up front, which is harder to do early on. But at the same time, it's like if I wake up and I can't be bothered today, which has never happened yet. But if I wake up and go, I can't be bothered, I just want to like stay in bed and play PlayStation, you know, or I want to stay in with this girl, whatever. Like, I have to make that day up, you know, down the line. And the way I'm working now is it's like 1 in, 1 out, you know. So I have to just miraculously find this
imaginary
day where not only am I free, but like whoever needs to be in the studio is free. And also it's crap on the band to do, because you know,
it's the kit they've got to get there.
Well,
organising a band to do anything is hard enough. To have it cancelled last minute.
But also, like, it's safe to say, like, I mean it's in like the nicest way possible, but all 3 of our bands, we're hobbyists.
Yeah.
None of them have done it as a profession.
I
right?
tried to, and
well,
then we ran out of money.
Me too, right? And but we're hobbyists.
Yeah.
So when you go to record, like say I was recording either of your bands, you're looking forward to getting into the studio. You're excited. You book time off work, and then if I'm like, I'm not feeling it today, you know, I've got a headache.
Experience,
and then you've already driven halfway to London. You'd be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And then
I've already paid him.
and then also, you know, oh, what was it like working with Charlie? Oh, well, he just didn't turn up on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then we all had to like book another day off work, and you know, I didn't have any holiday left, so I had to take it unpaid, and this, and also if you know, I think it's the difference between having a job and a career. It's like when you have a career, like, there's not enough hours in the day. Like I have to leave my hard drive at home, because I'll get home and start listening to what we recorded. So I have to leave it there. But when you've got a job, you're like counting down the minutes till you can get out of it.
Yeah.
You know. So I've never had a day where I haven't wanted to go to work. You know, because I fucking love it. It's brilliant. It's the best thing in the world.
Amazing.
Even I went there this morning, and I was just sitting there and I was going, fuck me, like, I've got a fucking recording studio.
Yeah.
And even like a month or 2 ago, I was really down in the dumps, and my mate went to me, do you remember when he did this to cheer me up? He went, oh, do you remember when you were at home trying to figure out how to make a Lady Gaga remix? Because I wanted to get into like electronic music at one point, and I was like, yeah. He went, now you've got your own recording studio. So it's like life's good, and I was like, you're right, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, if you've got a normal job, it's hard to like to have that same passion and drive, unless the only thing that drives you is money.
Yeah. Which there's people out there.
Yeah, of course there is. Yeah.
Do not care.
And they skip to work because they're driving in a Ferrari and stuff. But I've never cared about those sorts of things really. So, you know, I'd rather have a comfortable, happy life than a luxurious.
Doing something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. And there's nothing. Honestly, there's nothing in the world that can beat it for me. To turn up to work, and especially when I'm friends with the band, you know, like turning up to work and having 5 of your mates walk in the door, and then you're just gonna like nerd out on guitar tones and especially when you're a fan of the band, you like hear the new songs. And you're like, oh, that's wicked.
Craft them as well.
And then you can pick how they sound. You can go, well, I want the guitars to sound like this, or I want the bass to sound like that.
And they haven't got a choice because of the sim in the mix.
And I'll be like, I just don't know why I can't get but yeah, it's the best now. I can't.
And like, even if you do have the option to say, I'm not going to go to work today. Like when you haven't booked anything, you've got complete control over when you, even though you do want to go to work.
Yeah.
You have got complete control over whether you do or don't, which is another like positive. I think you know that if you need to take time, you don't have to go.
Yeah.
Can I have Wednesday the 15th of May off?
I mean, I'm
for
human,
a wedding,
man. And I have my like ups and downs and stuff. And there's definitely been days where I've been at home and I've had to mix. I've just been like, fuck it, which kind of counteracts what I said. But I know that like it's going to be there tomorrow, and today I won't do my best, but I know tomorrow I'll do better. So
yeah, I heard a thing that you should average a 7 out of 10 for your life, for every day.
yeah.
So you can have your 3s, you can have your 10s, but if you average out a 7 for like your lifetime, then you've done really well. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
It's good.
What's your average right now?
Right now,
10.
I don't know, man. Depends what I'm doing. Today's a 3. No, today's a 10. It's a good day today. Nice outside.
The sun was out for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably averaging a 7, maybe at the minute.
Good.
So let's talk about the growth of Monolith,
Okay.
London's heaviest.
Is that what you call yourself, London?
Yeah, I
Heaviest?
ripped it off that record shop.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have like London's heaviest record shop, and I was like, I like that.
Record
Slogan.
in studio.
Yoink.
You just said ING studio at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the growth. Yeah, we touched on it a bit, but it was like, yeah, when it first started, it was like, I definitely wasn't waiting for the phone to ring. That's for sure. I was definitely like trying to get everyone I could in and offering slots to people. And it's funny because some bands that went, I'll record you for free, they were like, oh yeah, sounds good, man. But talk to the guys and they never get back to me. Now they're kind of going,
Raiden.
I'm still waiting to hear back. But yeah, now they're messaging me like, and I'm not in a nasty way. I'm not like, well, now it's 500 a day, you know. But
You had your chance.
But you know, bands that I was like desperate to get in, and are now more, you know, they want to come in.
Yeah.
But it's like anything in life. It's like, you know, if I was trying to join a band with Pierre, but he'd never heard me play guitar, I wouldn't expect him to want me to be in his band, you know. But the fact that I've been putting stuff out now and people know what they're going to get and they know that it's going to be of, you know, this level, they want to come now.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they first started, it was definitely hard getting bands in the door, and I definitely had I was nervous about everything I did because I was like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want this to sound like shit. I don't want this to be this. Don't want to be that. And I can safely say everything I've done, especially in the early days, I gave it 110%. I tried my absolute hardest to get it to the best I could, and I was at that level then, and I'm at this level now. And but yeah, the first year was kind of like trying to get just anyone in, really, and then the second year it picked up pretty quick. I think the band that made it pick up the most was I did Split Knuckle, and then after Split Knuckle, it was just like every band that loved Split Knuckle was like, yo, that sounds sick, you know.
Yeah.
So that was probably and that was a band that I did for dirt cheap to get them in, you know. And we all smashed it, and they keep coming back, so that's going well. But that definitely was a band where I noticed, maybe I'd even go as far as say my clientele double, because it just opened up that whole hardcore world to me. Whereas before I was kind of doing mostly metal bands, but like the smaller ones that'd be playing like Big Red and stuff like that, which I still do, and I still love doing it. And there's a lot of great bands doing that circuit. But with the scene, it's like hardcore scene or a metal scene, it's quite tight knit. So yeah, when I did Split Knuckle, that kind of opened the doors for me to do Realm of Torment and Negative Frame and Borstal and Frantic State and so on and so on. You know, so that was probably the biggest like bang thing for the studio. I think was Split Knuckle. Yeah, and then it's just been going up and up from there. And then I've started doing more. I think it's Eat Dirter actually to credit, because now I've started doing more skate punk bands have started reaching out to me as well.
Well, yeah, no, we put your name in big letters on the back of our record for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's still only, I think I'm in my third year.
Okay.
But it's night and day, even from last year, and during a pandemic as well. Even, you know, the small windows that opened up for me during the pandemic, I'd be booked solid. Like I wouldn't be able to move, you know. And there's no sign of it changing now. Things are like staying open. So.
With during the pandemic, because it's actually come up a lot, obviously, because it's anyone can think about. What were you doing in between the windows, like to kind of make ends meet? Was it just mixing or like helping people out?
Yeah, I had a lot, not a lot, but I had enough jobs come in that was like, we were going to do an album, but like now the pandemic and we can't wait. So here's MIDI drums and guitar DIs.
Yeah.
So I did a few projects like that, and that kind of just kept me going. And then I was kind of sneaking bands in a little bit as well, like not in the huge spikes of it, but like when it was kind of calmed down a bit, I was sneaking bands in and saying, make sure you wear fucking masks and all that shit. But then also, I won't go into the details of it, but I got a rent break, so I didn't have to worry about paying the rent on the. I still had to pay rates on it, but I didn't have to pay the actual rent or service charges or anything like that. So
that's good.
It really obviously freed the studio to not go under. If that makes sense. Yeah, it was a ball ache because I had a lot of stuff planned, and I lost a lot of money. I lost maybe £7,000 of work over COVID, you know, and so did everyone else. And I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't have to worry about my home or anything like that. I actually hate saying it, I kind of enjoyed lockdown. at least the first one. The second and
the
third
first one, everyone kind of, because I built this studio. Like, everyone kind of pulled anyone, like, I think who's like us that is a doer found something to kind of do and make it worth their while. I'm sure a lot of people just sat on their asses, but it's that mentality of like, I have to do something. I'm going to go mad.
Well, I loads of my friends were going to me like, "Oh, I've put on so much weight. I lost 2 stone, like during lockdown."
Because you went at the studio getting burgers every day.
But it was that, and then also, kind of before lockdown, I went to New York for a month. Went to WrestleMania, and my friend did a festival out there called Desert Fest. So I just stayed out there, and I came back 2 stone heavier. So really, all I did was lose the weight I put on. I was in New York, but you know, is that thing? I was at home, and I wanted to make the most of it. And I said, well, what's the thing I'm always going? I don't have time for. Well, I'm always going, I'd like to do this, but I haven't got time to exercise. You know, which is kind of a cop out. But I was like, right, well, an hour a day, I'll do this exercise bike, and then the more I did that, the more I didn't want to eat crap. You know. So yeah, I basically just dedicated myself to that, and then I did a lot of I'm trying to think of the word, research or education. So I watched a lot of Nail the Mixes, which is like a website where big producers come in and mix like a Gojira song or an Architect song.
I remember I got it because I got Logic. I was like, I've got Logic, I could do that now.
Yeah, and then you go, what's compression?
You became my. I was like, I'm just going to cancel it.
But I watched a lot of those, and I just got involved with stuff that was kind of positive, you know. And also, as a producer, I wanted to come out of lockdown better. So the next things I did, people were like, holy fucking shit. You know?
We've talked about that in not just the pandemic, but just in general, your downtime and utilising that and maximising that time to get something out of it. Yeah. So we've started putting in, you know, we did the town reel and stuff like that, just to
do this.
Just to end this. I did my podcast that I did as well, and it's
Then and Now hardcore podcast.
Didn't need to say that.
I've listened to a few of them.
Listen to it.
A couple of them, mate. But no, it's good that, you know, the creative people did something there, and like you had that time to do the stuff that you probably always were putting. I ain't got time to do that because I'm just recording band after band after band. So
I mean, like I said, I actually enjoyed the first one, and then the second one and the third one got hard.
I thought so.
The second one and third one were difficult, you know, but yeah, fucking first one was great. You know, but
it was one of those things, like it was a forced holiday, and self-employed like business owners like us, like you don't take that because you're scared that if you don't do the work, then it might not come back.
Yeah.
And this one, we've got to just got to be at home, got to not do the work. Like I don't have to do it. It was a really nice like kind of like welcome break that you weren't paying for.
Yeah.
Well, you were paying, but you just weren't getting paid at all.
Yeah, I mean, I even started writing music again for the first time in ages. You know, I wanted to do a band that just ripped off Archangel.
I learned to play guitar and joined.
Yeah,
the
you
band.
did. So it goes to show, you know, if the need to have to go to work is taken away, it showed what a lot of people would do with their time. You know, and obviously some people sat at home drinking beer, and some people started podcasts or learnt guitar or lost loads of weight or whatever. Built the studios.
Yeah, I think it was like someone called it summer of side hustle. Which I thought was a really good way to do it because everyone had something going on. Well, everyone I knew that was like that kind of way. Like I know loads of people that are like some of my best friends, but they're just workers, and they were like they just took it as like, oh wow, I just work from home.
Yeah.
But some people took it as like, I'm getting paid furlough to not have to go to work. What can I can change my life now. And loads of people did like, now there's businesses that didn't exist before that they've done it through that. It was as sad as it was, like tragedy, and that for some people it probably changed their lives and saved their lives.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw a lot of people very happy during the first one, and then on the flip side, I saw a lot of people very miserable, especially during the second and third one.
The second and third were hell. They were because it's cold. Christmas was cancelled. Yeah,
Christmas was tough, and and like January, February was tough.
Yeah, and then March it was like, now we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, even I had a tough time in March as well with it all, but yeah, I think now things are open up and we can do stuff like this, and I can, you know, come to Essex, see my friends, go to Kent, see my mum. Like it's nice, man, and I'm glad things are getting back to normal now. I think it sounds bad saying it, but you know, when everything got locked down at first, I was like, good. I was like, I don't want to go to the pub. I don't want to go to gigs. At first.
Yeah. Well, they cancelled our tour. The last thing we did was that gig with Torchbearer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then it was like the next day it was off. Everything was cancelled.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to go on tour with TLC. I was filling in for them, and that got yanked. Yeah. And it's funny because we were like, fuck it, let's go anyway. And then like literally it was like quarantine at like Calais and shit, and we're like, oh thank God we didn't. Would have been in a fucking camp in Calais for 2 weeks or something.
That'd be fun.
But
especially with TLC.
But yeah, I think now things are getting back. Yeah.
I can't get my sunbeds.
No, they're all right, man. But
they're lovely.
They're lovely guys. But yeah, I think I'm glad everything's getting back to normal. To be honest, I don't have much time for all this reserve a table, don't go to the toilet without a helmet on, and
we did it last night,
and all these
hassle.
These gigs that are social distancing,
sit down ones.
Yeah, I also think it's kind of irresponsible as well. It's like we're kind of like beating this thing now, and you're going to start doing stuff that's going to jeopardise it. Just my opinion, but
just wait another couple of weeks and you'll be fine.
But I'm glad, and then we can have the Indian variant.
Yeah,
but
I'm vaccinated, so it doesn't matter.
But no, I mean, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the UK hardcore returns, and then and now. That's the right then and it's not now and then.
No.
Now and then first.
Now and then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to.
Oh, that was bad. I just realised who that was. Shit.
I'm looking forward to that. You know, and there's some things I'm genuinely Knuckle Dust anniversary shows. A lot of stuff I'm looking forward to going to and seeing people again. You know, but when we first locked down, there was a huge part of me that was like, I actually like this. I like the fact that like.
You haven't got kids, mate. That's why.
Yeah. So if I had kids, I think I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. But yeah, it was great, and then it went really bad.
Yeah. I think everyone felt the same. Well, probably differently, but a lot of the group consensus that I know is that the first one was kind of nice. It was good that it was happening. Yeah.
But I think it was that thing. It freed everyone up to do the things they enjoyed doing, and I saw a lot of that, and then. You know, you can't paint forever. You can't learn guitar forever. You can't do an exercise bike forever.
Yeah.
You can't do podcasts every day. And then you start going, well, I'd actually kind of like some of my life back. But I think it's good if these things carry on, like your podcast and you know, everything else that people took out, like you learning guitar, and you know, everyone took stuff up. If they can carry on these new hobbies, then I mean, I wouldn't say COVID was a blessing because loads of people died, but some good came out of it in a way. You know?
I think it's the human spirit, isn't it? That we can kind of make do and adjust and change to what we need to do, which is positive. But let's go back to Monolith.
Okay.
You gave us some t-shirts, which we seem to get t-shirts now. That's the thing. But I remember recording with you. I think it was, I don't know if did we do Eat Dirt or Slay Dougie first?
I can't remember.
But I remember you went have a t-shirt, and I was like, well, yeah. And then that t-shirt, because I would wear that t-shirt like quite a lot, especially at music-based things. And slowly you'd see these t-shirts creeping in, and everyone had these Monolith t-shirts. I remember there was one gig, Eat Dirt played, and 3 of us were wearing it. Like, I was like, two of you are going to have to turn your t-shirt inside out. But how important do you think that brand recognition is for you now?
I mean, literally, the deal with the t-shirts is I've had a few people try and buy them, and I've had my mum especially been like, sell them, make a big cartel and sell them, you'll make loads of money. But the thing is, I wanted with these t-shirts is I want it to be like, anyone can have one for free as long as you're involved in the studio in some capacity. Whether you let me invite myself onto a podcast, you know, record at the studio. You're just a friend of mine. You can just have one as long as you're involved in the studio in some way. You know, and
like a badge of honor kind of thing.
Yeah, like I didn't want it to be something. Not that it would have fucking made me millions or anything like that, but I didn't want it to be something that was readily available to anyone that wanted one. But the thing that is happening is like, so a band comes in, they all get a t-shirt, right? I give them all a t-shirt. Everyone's happy. Oh, free t-shirt. This is wicked. Yeah, the t-shirts, you know, they cost me what, £3 each. Bands pay me £300 a day, £350 some bands if their music requires that. You know, and they all get a t-shirt, and then they all do a music video, and at least one of them's wearing it. I think almost every band I've given a t-shirt to, when they do their promos or they do their video shoot, one of them's wearing it. I think with Split Knuckle, I think Liam was wearing it.
Imagine they're all wearing them with Split Knuckle.
Yeah, they loved them. But I think in the video Liam was wearing one, and then on the inside of their CD, Larry was wearing one. You know, so it gets out there. And I think the thing is with it being a studio t-shirt is it's almost like one up from wearing a band shirt in the sense of like cool cred stuff, because it's like, oh, it's a recording studio. Oh yeah, I went there, you know. Yeah. And they're cool t-shirts. I mean, my friend Luke Wolf, who tattoos at Sang Blue, he did the design. You know, thanks Luke.
If he listens,
he probably won't. But they're cool t-shirts, and I wanted them to look like a metal band t-shirt. Like this studio is a heavy metal studio. It's not. I'm not doing country music here. I love country music, but I'm not doing country music here. I'm not doing pop music.
You have done country music though, haven't you?
I've done country music. Retro and Outlaw.
It's not the heaviest studio, is it?
But yeah, I wanted it to be like branded, but I also wanted it to be something that you kind of had to earn in a way. You had to actually come to the studio. You had to actually
be
involved in some. You know, you don't have to pay me loads of money to get one, but you have to in some way be connected to the studio. You know, and that's just how I wanted it. And it's the kind of thing. It's not like a crew or anything like that. I just wanted it to be something nice to give people, as a show of my appreciation for just believing in the studio or coming to the studio.
I think it's a great idea, and
it's
and
cool.
We were talking about earlier, like how many times we'll show up at a gig and there's at least one now. That's how it's kind of disseminated around the scene, be it the punk scene or the hardcore scene. Someone's always got one on. It shows the breadth of work that you've done, like from like punk to metal and like hardcore, which is literally in between both of those. It's like you are now that. You're like, we're almost like. Yeah, you're the go-to studio at the moment. I think for that. I think you know it feels like you've filled a gap. There was never really there's like Dan Weller and Justin Hill were doing Weller Hill, and then they just blew up and ended up doing pop. Like they were doing metal, and they were doing the best metal records.
Yeah.
Because they did our record, Smoking Hearts one.
Yeah, sounds
And
great.
that was the last thing they did.
Well, I mastered something he did, and it was really good.
He's like Justin Hill's amazing. Dan Weller's amazing. But they took, I think Justin still does mainly metal, but Dan Weller became like, he got the Enter Shikari thing, and then the next thing you know, he's doing like pop music in Thailand and stuff.
I mean, it's a big break, you know, like Dan Lancaster. You know, who did he do? Did he do Bring Me the Horizon?
Yeah, I think
and
so,
now he's
yeah.
like doing Blink-182. It's like you get that one band come in. I mean, even on a smaller scale, like I said, I had Split Knuckle come in.
Yeah.
And then from Split Knuckle, I had all the bands that support Split Knuckle wanting to come in. You know?
Yeah.
And then...
So do you think you would, if you got your break, would you move to pop music?
No, I wouldn't, because I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I'd love to be sitting here talking about the new Deftones record that I'm doing, you know, and maybe one day, you know. But no, I don't think I would ever do. Not because I hate it, but I just don't think I would take on a big project like that.
Yeah.
You know.
But you've thrived making music that you enjoy, and that's what you said is the best thing about your job.
But I think it's because I know it so well. So it's like when a band comes in, it's like every band, whether they want to admit it or not, and every band I've been in has a band that that's the template for their bands, you know. And they might chuck in, you know, just to make it easy, their template might be Metallica.
Yeah.
They just sound like Metallica, but there's a little bit of Megadeth in there as well.
Yeah.
You know, but it's Metallica. So it's like every band has that template, and I'm quite good at spotting that. So a band can come in, I hear their demo, I go, okay, you sound like Gojira. So I know I will use EVH for their guitars.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use these samples for their drums. You know, I'll balance it this way because I'll know that's what they want to sound like. If I could brought in, say someone's like, "Oh, do the new Dua Lipa record," I'd be like, well, I don't know that music inside and out.
Yeah.
Like, so
like,
I wouldn't know.
What is that crushing guitar sound that you put on there?
Well,
It's horrible.
when I was at uni, one of my projects was to remix "Toxic" by Britney Spears.
Yeah.
So we got given the raw stems, and the first thing I did was I reamped the for a guitar. First thing I did.
Yeah.
And then I just mixed it like I mixed the metal thing, and it sounded interesting.
Yeah.
But it was the only one in my class that didn't sound
Exactly
like
the
exactly
the
like Britney
same.
Spears.
Yeah.
You know, it did kind of sound dreadful,
Yeah.
but the mix was there, and it was mixed, and it was, you know. But that's where it's like I didn't know how to mix pop, because I don't listen to it, so I don't know how punchy the drums should be. I don't know how compressed the vocals should be. Whereas with heavy music, you know, I'm into most of it.
Yeah.
So I understand it, you know. So it's I wouldn't say it's easy for me, but yeah, it's kind of easy.
You've got reference, haven't you? You've got real world reference. Which,
and also because I've been around the block playing in bands, I can also offer advice to bands when they don't know what to do. They don't know how to release their single. They don't know, you know. And I've actually started getting into the pre-production stage with bands, where bands are starting to come in, you know, for like a few days before they do their album, and we go over their songs, and I go, why is this section 16 bars of the same riff? And they go, oh, because the singer's doing this really interesting thing. It's like, no, he's not. Cut it out. Get rid of it. You know, and I've started doing that with bands now, and hopefully...
Well, that's the next step, isn't it? That's when you become an actual producer that people go to, rather than someone just recording a band.
Yeah, I'm not just pressing record. And hopefully these bands will improve with my input, hopefully. I might ruin them.
You could be the next Bob Rock.
Yeah, well...
So improve, get involved 20 years later.
Yeah, try and play bass for them.
Get psychiatrists in.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, I think that's the next step for me and some of these bands, and the bands that are actually doing it are bands that have already been coming to me for a little while, and they know their music's good, but they know there's something not quite there, and then my job in those few days is to basically trim the fat on their songs, because a lot of the time with bands, they're either not doing enough or doing way too much.
Yeah. And you're in an echo chamber as well, aren't you? Like, of just like, yeah, this sounds great. Yeah, you're right. We're really good.
Or there's one guy writing everything, and he's going to his bandmates. What do you think? And they're too nervous to go. Shit, this bit's rubbish. Why is this bit in the song? And you know, I've been doing that to bands that have come in, You know, even while we're recording, I've been going, this riff needs to be like this, or this needs to be like that, or these kicks need to go like this instead. And 9 times out of 10, the band go, oh yeah, you know. And it is hard, especially these bands where like one person writes everything. It's difficult for that person to write 11 songs, 10 songs, and them not get boring, and there not be some duds in there, you know. And that's why the next progression for me is to have bands come in before they record, and like I said, go, why is this bit in here? What's purpose is this serving?
Probably makes your job easier as well, because you know that it's going to be better for it, and you're not doing it on the day. You've already decided these things.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to do that on the fly as well. So if I've got a band in and I go, you know what, like, I think this riff needs to be more like Slayer than hardcore, because every riff on the album is a hardcore riff, but we've got a opening here to do like a thrash sort of riff instead, and we've only got to change a few notes or change the strings you're playing or your picking pattern. And it's hard on the fly to like look at everyone and go, are we in? Unless the band fully back you, which some bands do, fully go, whatever you say, like, we're here because we're fans, you know. Or they're not fans, they're here because they like the way my production sounds. And then I would never battle a band too much. I kind of just go, it's your band. And then the band was actually taking a piss out of me because they were saying one of my sayings is, but what do I know? I always go, you should do this instead. And then when they're like a bit like, I go, well, yeah, what do I know? And then I just let that sit.
3 years in.
I just let that sit, and then normally they go, well, let's hear it then, you know.
And then you pick up the guitar and do it.
Well, yeah. Well, I've got a saying is like, every record comes with 3 dive bombs, because I always do dive bombs on people's records and they come in.
You've done solos on Slay Dougie, I think.
Yeah, I did a solo on Slay Dougie. I actually cheated on that solo though.
Really?
Because I just shredded like mad.
Yeah.
And then I put it through an auto tuner. So so it took out any duff notes. So any notes that weren't in key with the song, the auto tuner like got rid of them.
Wow. I'm gonna use that when I record.
One way to cheat. It's did the same with the because I did the Dimebag thing where you harmonise the whammy bar with the vocal.
Yeah.
And because I did it kind of on the spot, quick.
Yeah.
And the guitar I was using was a cheaper Jackson Flying V.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really get the sustain on the whammy bar. So I auto-tuned the as well.
There you go. You heard it here. It's all fake.
It's all faked. But yeah, I've done dive bombs on almost everyone. I think did it on both split knuckle releases. I did. That's the other one I did. Frantic State. I did one on theirs.
Really?
Because it always starts with them going, "Oh yeah, I want a dive bomb here," and then they've never done it before,
right,
and they just think like dive bombs are just, oh yeah, you just like touch the note and bend the whammy bar. I was like, no, you've got to have like very delicate control to get the proper ones, you know.
And a good auto tune.
And then and then normally I'm just like, they're trying it a few times, I'm just sitting there like that, and I'm just like, just give me the fucking guitar.
Give me the guitar.
Fuck's sake. So yeah, I was going to put on the back of the t-shirt 3 dive bombs with every recording.
That's good, yeah.
That's a good one. Talking about like the marketing and stuff with the t-shirts, but you also do, your Instagram's pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah,
with the videos and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of natural, to be honest. It's not really thought out. I think it's just I'm up to stuff. But like Instagram, you know, it's what am I up to now? Well, I'm doing stuff, so I post it. Yeah. You know, and that's all it is with the studio. I'm in there. And a lot of the videos and stuff, I didn't take them. It's the band of filming, and then I'll just send me that, and I just like dump a load up, you know, do like a photo dump or whatever. But yeah, it keeps everything flowing, you know.
It can't hurt, can it?
No, I mean, you know, and obviously I don't post. I mean, I did post one video where I was asleep in the studio, which probably not the best advert for the studio, but it was funny, you know. It's like the guy's playing guitar, my intern's like recording, and then the camera pans, I'm like asleep on the couch. But,
you're Rick Rubin now.
Yeah. but you know, I was tired, man. I've been recording for 3 weeks, so let me off. But yeah, the Instagram, that's all just natural. I don't think I definitely don't go, right, it's 4 o'clock on a Thursday, I'm going to upload this this like black and white picture of me on the computer. Like I don't do any of that stuff. It's just what's happening in the studio is what goes up. You know, I always try and I say to the bands, I say like, when you're releasing, keep me in the loop so I can promote it from my side as well. Because I mean, it's not like the studio's insane on Instagram. It's got like 3,000 followers, but that's 3,000 people that probably don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So just send me the little Instagram. It takes you a second. Send me it over WhatsApp, the little teaser, and I want every band I record to get as big as possible because it works out perfectly for me. If I record a band and they blow up, and then even if they don't come back for their next record, someone will come off the back.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Instagram stuff, it's all just natural, man. I don't think too much about it. I do, obviously, I try and make an effort when I'm in the studio, but nothing's overly thought out or planned.
It's hard, I think, social media. I think it is one of those things that actually, you know, everyone goes, "Oh, we've got a social media guy." Probably would help a lot of people if someone goes, "Right, I'm doing it now." I
mean, I got a social media guy and he kind of just messed it up. He just followed loads of random people.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, why am I just following like all these like random hardcore kids that aren't even in bands? Or like, why am I following like these? I mean, literally, I was following like nutritionists. I was like, why am I following nutritionists? And all he really did, like, luckily it was just a trial. I didn't pay him anything, but all he did was set me up with one of them stupid bots. And set like.
The worst.
Yeah, and so I just had and the worst makes things worse. He fucked it up so bad that before he did he fucked up and put my personal account first. So I woke up. I was like, oh, I was like, what do you mean? I got 300 new followers.
Yeah.
And then I click on it, and now I'm following like 1,000 people that I don't know.
And you got to go and unfollow.
Yeah, I had to go through and unfollow it all. So I mean, I try and obviously I follow bands.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's out of interest as well. Not obviously I would like to work with most of these bands, but like a lot of times just out of interest to see who's coming up. And to be honest with you, man, doing the studio it's really sparked my interest in gigs and scenes again, because I'd kind of not fallen out of love with it, but I just kind of was out of the loop and I couldn't be bothered, but because I was touring, I was at gigs so much that when I came home, last thing I wanted to do was go to the Unicorn and watch hardcore bands, like a fun night out and stuff. But when you've been doing that
non-stop
and you're tired, it's like the last place you want to be, you know. But now I'm not doing that. I actually really sparked my interest in shows and gigs and fests and stuff like that. So, and obviously I know loads more people now because they've come to the studio. So I go to these places and
catch up.
Yeah. And also then I've got something to talk about. People I haven't seen for ages. There's something for us to talk about. Yeah. You know, so it's great. I love it.
Cool. Is that? Well, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to plug before the end?
Just the studio. Yeah, just go
Didn't see that one coming.
Just monolithstudios.london.com.
Yeah.
Monolith Studios London on Instagram. Yeah, just go check it out.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the actual podcast, even though we talk all the time. And
Yeah.
known each other for 20 years nearly.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's like do a podcast with friends and it's like, what on earth? We're like mates.
You know the answer.
Why are you asking me this?
I literally told you outside before we did it. But no, it's been great, man.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Cheers,
Peace.
Charlie.